Hey everyone, welcome to the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. I'm Stephanie, a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and notebooks as tools for wellness. Reading and writing can help us feel better and make life better too, and I'll show you how I do it. You'll find episodes exploring the research behind reading and writing for wellness, practical strategies to embrace your own restorative reading and writing, and you'll meet authors and special guests who help us take inspired actions in our own daily practices too. So grab a notebook and your TBR list and let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. I'm Stephanie and I'm so glad you're here today. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different in this episode. I wanted to do three things today. Number one, I wanted the chance to talk about my one-word theme for November that I have chosen. Two, I wanted to showcase what it's like to be inside my Get Literate Substack community. And three, I wanted to ask for your help. So, my one-word theme, let's start there. You know that every year since the pandemic, I have chosen one-word themes to guide the way I want my days and weeks and months to go. I used to choose yearly themes, and that just stopped working. So instead, it's a new one-word theme every month, the first of every month, and I read and write and live it into existence in all sorts of ways. Well, in November for 2025, my one-word theme for the month is nourish. It's nourish. Isn't that the perfect word for this time of year, for this month? It is a season of nourishment. It is cooler weather. It's shorter days, more time inside. It's connecting with the people who matter most. It's food and friends and the start of the holiday season. The one-word theme of nourish just reminds us to hold close what we want to hold close and pay attention to what we want to pay attention to and really feed our bodies and our minds and our souls with things that feel really good. So nourish, I think, is going to be one of my favorite themes that we've had so far. And inside my Get Literate community, we do all sorts of things all month long around that one-word theme. When I release the one word for the month, I also release the monthly bibliotherapy book calendar. That's where I offer one book that embraces the theme of the month for every single day of the month. It is formatted like a beautiful calendar with all of the book covers sticking out so that you can print it and tack it up by your TBR and remind you to read all month long. There's also a live book club. This month, we have three different choices, so you can choose the book that nourishes you the most. There are always bonus episodes on Sundays. Sometimes there are live events, and we throw in a bunch of other things along the way as well. But this past Sunday, I sent out the Sunday episode, and it was all about creating a recipe notebook. This has been something that has been on my mind and heart for a long time, ever since my mother gifted me my grandmother's old recipes. Some in her handwriting, some that she cut out, some that were just tucked away and saved here, there, everywhere. It is just a beautiful, treasured collection, but it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. And now I have new recipes from my father-in-law. I have recipes from my other grandparents. I have my own recipes. It's about time that I did something with those recipes. And I realized that recipe writing or recipe keeping really is a form of restorative writing because it just brings so much to our daily lives in a bunch of different ways. So I showed up off the cuff in that episode explaining what I wanted to do, the ways I was thinking about doing it, and I asked my community for help. Now, if you're inside the Get Literate Substack community, you already know that it is a community of really wonderful bookish people. If you're not there yet, you're going to get a taste of what that Sunday bonus episode would feel like, some of the things that we talk about. And then I'm going to come back after I play that exact episode I released for my Get Literate community. And I'm going to share what I'm thinking about now that a week has passed since I've released it. Members shared their ideas and voice notes and comments and emails. And I'm slowly starting to figure out how to create a restorative recipe notebook for myself. So I would love to press play on that episode for you. You'll hear exactly what a Sunday episode sounds like. But when it's done, don't leave your podcast platform yet. I will be back to share some of the ideas that some of the Get Literate members shared with me and hopefully have a semblance of order and what I hope to accomplish in my recipe notebook. And then I'd love to steal some ideas from you as well. So let's get right to that episode. Here is the Sunday bonus episode from my Get Literate Substack community on creating a recipe notebook. Hey everyone, happy Sunday and welcome to our weekly Sunday episode inside our private Get Literate Substack community. I feel like I have been inundating you with posts lately. We had the first post on November 1st with our one word theme of nourish and our bibliotherapy book calendar. Then we had a post asking for your help around the book club. We then had a book club post with those three nourishing titles that you can choose from for book club. Then we had a post about our holiday notebooking session, and then we had our holiday notebook session. And now I'm here with a typical regular Sunday post. So hopefully you did not kind of roll your eyes when you saw yet another email from me in your inbox. It was all in good fun and nourishing spirit of getting our one word theme off the ground. Now, today's episode is a little different because I'm sharing some half-baked thinking with you in hopes that you'll give me some feedback so that I can use it to create an episode on my public Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. So I'm coming to you as someone with an idea who has kind of started it in hopes that it will spark you to do the same, give me ideas, and then I can bring something more finished and more tangible to the public podcast. If there's anything I know about this group, it's that you always have amazing things that you're already doing, and I want to steal all of your ideas. So here's what I've been thinking of. And truth be told, I've been thinking of this for years. Okay, I'm going to tell you this idea that I have that I'm trying to work on. And I feel like I'm trying so many ideas, but I just love trying new things. Um, and you're going to say, Stephanie, you've been talking about that, I think, for like 2 years. You've brought that up more than once. Why haven't you done anything with that? Or maybe you won't say that to me, and that's just what I am saying to myself in my head. But here's the thing. So, probably 2 years ago, I was gifted my grandmother's recipe collection. She passed away years ago, but I have such fond memories of her in the kitchen and me being in the kitchen with her. And my mother passed along this big box of recipes. So there's a recipe binder, there's a recipe box, and then there's a lot of loose recipes. There are recipes that she cut out of the boxes of things, recipes that she has saved from the graham cracker crust label. Like there are just so many amazing recipes and what's the word? It's not ephemera. It's things cut out and even coupons for the recipes from like the 40s. And it's just a beautiful collection. I also was able to get additional recipes from my husband's side of the family with my father-in-law. I got some of those when he passed away, and I have this big, beautiful stack of stuff, not to mention the recipes that I have from my other grandparents who happily are still here and making them. I've been saying for a long time that I want to do something with them. I don't know what. I don't know if I want to put them in a scrapbook. I don't know if I want to put them in sheet protectors. I don't know if I want to rewrite them, but then what do I do with the ones that are handwritten? Because those are the ones that matter. Do I digitize them? Do I go on Etsy and find someone who can, recreate them in the handwriting they are in, but make them, sturdier and safer for actually pulling out on my kitchen table so I don't ruin them? There are so many questions that I have around doing something with these recipes. Now, parallel to that, I have a friend who has her own recipe notebook. I remember the first time I saw this. It is a big, oversized artist's sketchbook, and it is just a blank notebook. And I remember her saying when I was over one day, let me just get out that recipe, and I'll show you it. I forget what we were talking about. And she pulled out this sketchbook. I'm like, what? What is that? She's like, it's my recipe book. I'm like, that is not a cookbook. She's like, no, it's my recipe book. I'm like, but they're not on index cards and it's not in a cute little box. And she's like, no, it is my recipe book. I'm like, wait a minute. You like do them from hand by hand and you put it all in and you don't have anything pre-printed, you don't fill something in. And I just remember the look that she gave me. She's like, "No, I want to do that all myself." I was like, "Well, what if it gets smudged and what if it gets dirty?" And she says, "I want it to get smudged and dirty. Like this is my recipe book. I want this to be a living, breathing thing that I have out all the time and the kids remember it and it gets passed down." Now, I just finished reading Rachel Linden's, um, what is it? The Recipe of Orange Blossom Cake. I can't believe I'm not remembering the title of a book that I love so much. And of course, there's a recipe book in there. So I haven't stopped thinking of this idea, but reading Rachel Linden's book brought it back front and center. And having this Nourish theme and having this theme on the calendar about nourishing ourselves with food, I thought, this is the time. This is the time. Holiday season. I do not want these sitting in a box, especially now that my basement is flooded and I realize just how much can get ruined when something goes wrong. I want to do something about it. I want a recipe notebook. I'm not sure what I'll call it. I'm not sure how I'll do it. That's why I need your help. But I do know I want a recipe notebook and a way to hang on to those recipes that really matter to me. I'm sure that I'll be able to convince myself to let go of some of those recipes, perhaps that were just cut out of a box or I don't ever remember my family making. The ones that are handwritten, the ones that I remember, I don't want to just rewrite them and let them go. I want to rewrite them and have a place to keep them. So, I've got lots of things that I'm thinking on. And I realized as I was thinking of it that this recipe notebook, this really is a form of restorative writing. I talk about all the different kinds of restorative writing that I have figured out for myself, and this is one of them. I don't know if it's commemorative because it's holding on to memories, if it's productive because it's helping me eat. I don't know. I think it's a blend, but I do think it is a form of restorative writing, right? If I had a notebook where I am hand writing a recipe, I am present. I am slowing down. I am connecting and reconnecting with the recipe on the page. And that's likely making me think of my senses, like smelling and tasting and textures. That's restorative. I also understand that each recipe that I write down, it has a story. Where did I find it? Who taught it to me? What did I think about it? Where was I when I ate it? Why does it matter to the person I am? Right? That is restorative to think about. I think it also helps us connect even more to our family history, our family lineage, our ancestors, and just handwriting it really locks that into place in our brain. It almost feels like digging out these old recipes and thinking back to them is like a really cool way of time traveling back to your family's past. There's such nostalgia, right? There's such gratitude in those moments, and there's a whole lot of feelings wrapped around it. So I feel like I might be onto something, why handwriting recipes could be a restorative practice. But now I have to figure out how. So I want to have a notebook I don't know if I want it to be blank pages or lined. Please weigh in on what you think. And I want it to have sections, appetizers, desserts, dinners, or maybe it's by the family or the person that I learned it from. So I'm still not sure quite how to organize it. I want to have the recipe, of course. I want the ingredients and the instruction and all the notes of what I'm supposed to do and how long you cook it and what you bake it at and all of those things. I want those basics. But what I also want on the page is the story behind the recipe. Who taught it to me? What family is it from? When do we usually make it? What memories do I have around it? What feelings or lessons, kind of come to my mind about growing up in relation to it? I want those things on the page too. I think I also want some sensory details like how did it taste and how did it smell and what are the colors? And maybe I add some doodles or some stickers, certainly some stains because all of my recipe cards have that. And I think those things make the recipe come alive, like literally alive on the page. And then who knows what else I'll add to it, but I'm really envisioning not just a recipe but a recipe notebook where all of those other things are invited in. So I want to know what you think. Do you have a recipe notebook? If you do, or if you have something like it, what do you include? Is it just the recipe? Is it more than the recipe? Do you handwrite them? Are they on cards? Are they in notebook pages? Do you have the originals? Do you tuck them anywhere? Do you keep them anywhere? All of those things are swirling around in my mind. And I'm coming to you because, well, two things. One, you always have wonderful ideas that I want to make my own. And two, I know that coming here means I will follow through. If I just keep saying it to myself and mentioning it briefly in a post, maybe I'll get to it one day. Maybe I will not. But if I do it here in this group that I love so much and we see each other every month, I know you'll hold me accountable. I want you to hold me accountable for it because I really, really think this could be something beautiful. And it could be beautiful for me and my immediate family, but I am sure there is a way that I could share it with everybody else, right? With the cousins maybe who don't have these recipes by hand, or with the family that might not remember all those cool details around it, but might want to see that page too. I don't know if I just copy the pages, if I digitize them, make them do a PDF, put them online, who knows? But I think the act of sharing it could make this practice really restorative for the family that comes around it together too. So I want to know all of the things you're thinking about in relation to this restorative recipe notebook project. I want you to tell me all of your ideas. I want you to tell me what you do, what you might do, and let's just let's just figure out the kinks together. I promise you, I am going to dig out my recipes. I'm going to start figuring out what it might look like, and just know that your contributions, they'll make their way into the public podcast. So I can't wait to hear from you. Put all of those comments in that comment section and let's figure out what we can make this year as we work on our nourishing theme. Thanks for listening, everyone. I can't wait to see what you share, and I'll see you in the next episode. I am back. I hope you enjoyed listening to that bonus Sunday episode as much as I enjoyed creating it. But there's more fun to be had because, as I mentioned, my community is the best community, and I had such wonderful suggestions of how to pull a recipe notebook together for me based on what they knew about me. Now, Amy W. was the first person to reply, and I've got to say, I think she nailed exactly the kind of notebook that I need. She knows that I loved my friend's notebook. She knows that I love Rachel Linden and that magical realism of her most recent book with a recipe notebook. And she knows that I love restorative writing. So here's what she pulled together for me. She's envisioning a large spiral bound sketchbook, no lines, and thinks that I should just start writing a story. Like that this cookbook is a bit based on memoir And not only can I put down the recipes that matter most, but I can also talk about the meaning behind it and the connections that I've made because of it. So it's a little memoir writing, it's narrative, and then it also has the recipe. But then the thing that I love is that this notebook would have an appendix where I can keep track of other recipes that I've tried or I know of, but I haven't really made my own yet. And then I can take all of those other recipes of my grandparents that I have, those handwritten ones, those one that have been cut out, and I can create a phase 2 of my restorative writing cookbook making where I can figure out how to share them and share this notebook with others, right? I love this. She even had an idea of writing letters in it because she knows I love a good epistolary novel. Says I could write letters to my grandmother in the notebook. I could write letters to her about the experiences I remember. I could write letters to her asking questions about the recipes. Like, oh, we could just go in so many directions with it. And now here's the kicker. Here's the synchronicity or the serendipity or whatever word we want to use. Literally minutes after reading Amy's comment, I saw something on Instagram that was part of what's called the holiday workshop. It's holiday workshop week. There's lots of makers that are involved. And one of the workshops that I could join in on if I choose to participate is a recipe writing workshop. It is a beautiful sketch note of sorts where this artist teaches you how to handwrite the recipe and then put doodles all over the recipe page so that you don't just have a recipe card. You have this beautiful thing that you could look at, and I could bring in some of those historical heirloom moments and some of the things that Amy recommended. So far, I am leaning towards that. Do I think I can do it? Do I think I can accomplish it? I'm not sure. It's pretty beautiful. If you'd like to take a look at that actual page that I'm talking about, you can go to my Substack at alitlife.substack.com. Click on the weekly literate love letter for last week and just scroll down and you will see the picture that I'm talking about. It's gorgeous. And even if I don't know if I can pull it off, I definitely am going to try. Now, I also got some other suggestions that I loved. One of them was creating a notebook. I guess you could say it's a discbound notebook, or maybe it's a binder notebook where you just take those really cool plastic sleeves and you put a recipe in each one, right? And then just put them all together. This particular person knows my type A personality and how much I want to have things organized. Now, my friend that I talked about in the episode, I asked her, I said, isn't it going to bother you that you can't rearrange your recipes as your book grows and you want to organize it? Like, don't you want to put them in sections? And she looked at me and said, "No, I don't care about that. I would love to have to page through my notebook in order to find one because then I'm going to remember all of the other wonderful recipes." I have goals to be more like her. But this is a simplistic idea that I think would work really, really well for me. I'm envisioning taking Amy's idea of really hand creating pages around my treasured recipes and then taking the other Amy's idea that I'm talking about and taking the recipes that my grandmother and my grandparents have handwritten or the ones they've cut out from magazines 50 years ago, I could put those each in plastic sleeves and organize them into a big binder. I love that they would be out of a box. I love that they would be protected, and I love that this would make me use them even more. So that's where I've landed so far. And you're not going to believe this, but the other person that I want to give a shout out for the recommendations is another Amy. Okay, so we've got Amy S as the third Amy to round out the suggestions that were so perfectly paired to me. She agrees with the sleeve protectors. She shared a notebook, one that I could purchase that's actually a recipe notebook, a recipe journal that I'm looking into. And I kind of like that idea because it gives me a starting point. And then I could be creative on the edges without being too overwhelmed by the blank page. But this Amy, like me, loves a good old-fashioned recipe box as well. And I have a recipe box started. So I don't know. I think I'm juggling three possibilities. One handwritten notebook for the recipes that mean so much, one binder with paper or page protector sleeves around the recipes already cut out that I want to preserve, and a recipe box. Perhaps those that I use often and could keep in the kitchen and just pull out really quickly rather than digging into a bigger notebook. What do you think of all this? So I've already got lots of wonderful feedback from my Get Literate community. I would love feedback from you. How do you store all of your treasured recipes? How do you commemorate or memorialize the recipes that have been handed down to you so that you have them and use them, but also don't ruin them and maybe preserve them and share them with others? I'm really diving into the research behind why recipe keeping, recipe writing, recipe sharing is a form of restorative writing. And I would love to know what all of you think so that I can keep going down this wonderful rabbit hole. You know where to find me. You can find me online, social media at AffinitoLit. Head to alitlife.com and comment on the post or these notes, or head on over to my Get Literate private community. Join us there, find the post about the recipe notebook, and add to the growing comment section. We need a few more people there who aren't just named Amy. And that could really add some fun variety to our posts. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to another episode this week, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Get Literate Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content, too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. But there's one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and no bookish community too. Thanks for listening, everyone.